Erin has always been outgoing. Even as a little girl, she never met a stranger. She's always had what appeared to be a perfectly normal life, going to school, active in church, and involved in other activities. She started playing softball when she was 5 years old. Her dad was her coach and was actually one of the best softball coaches in our area. It seemed like everyone wanted to be on his team. I remember how sad she was when we divorced. She thought staying with him would keep him from being sad and lonely, so she often did. During that time, her grades suffered, but she never was a straight-A student, and I knew that divorce had been difficult on her. I would occasionally ask her if anyone was touching her in a wrong way. Her answer was always no. But looking back, after going through counseling, I realized this was normal. She was never told that what was happening to her was wrong.
Children that have been abused can look and act like any other child. Children are remarkably resilient, and many of these kids go about their daily lives as though nothing has happened. In particular, when the perpetrator is a family member or someone close to the family, children are even less likely to tell about the abuse. When the abuse is the normal way of life for a child or is ongoing, this also adds to a child's failure to tell about what is happening. Research shows that as many as 75% of children delay in disclosing abuse.
I remember the way he always made her feel guilty for wanting to stay with me. I actually saw a show on TV describing how a child molester acts, and her dad behaved in many of the same ways. I told my sister about the gut feeling, and she started to cry. She had been victimized by him as a teenager. Shortly after that, her dad was planning to take Erin and 2 other little girls on a trip for her 12th birthday. My sister begged me not to let them go alone, and Erin asked me to go with them. On that trip, I saw him do some things that just didn't look right, and I asked him about it. If you're acting like this in front of me, what are you doing in private? He just said I was overreacting. As soon as we got home, I took Erin to see a counselor. I explained what I had witnessed. Still, Erin never told what was happening. A short time later, I confronted Erin again. This time, she started to cry, and my greatest fear unfolded in front of me.
Children are taught from a very young age about the dangers of strangers. However, the majority of child abuse perpetrators are someone the child victim knows and trusts, a relative, a family friend, or a caretaker. The use of physical force is rarely necessary because children are trusting and dependent. They want to please others and gain love and approval. Children are taught not to question authority, and they believe adults are always right. Perpetrators of abuse know this and take advantage of these vulnerabilities in children. Child abuse is an abuse of a child's right to normal, healthy, and trusting relationships.
I went to my son to explain to him what was happening. I wasn't sure if he would believe what Erin said was true, but I felt he should know. As I told him, he revealed even more. He told me that he had also been molested by Erin's dad. I was so upset. How could this get by me? How could I not have known? I keep wondering why no one stepped forward before now. I realize now how brave Erin was to step up and tell the truth. My son and my sister also went to the police station and told the investigators what they had told me. The police completed their investigation, and Erin's dad was arrested.
The investigation of child sexual and physical abuse is one of the most difficult aspects of law enforcement. Our involvement begins when the initial report is filled out. That may be at the child's home, their school, or the emergency room of a hospital. Once the report is completed, we assign it to an investigator who contacts the victim's family to discuss the case further and tell them about the services available at Prescott House. Our coordinated team approach through the Prescott House brings together investigators from law enforcement, the Department of Human Resources, and the District Attorney's Office. Getting everyone involved in the case under one roof is critical to streamline the process, to build a solid case, and to act quickly to protect the children from further abuse. Because of the child-focused setting at the Prescott House, child victims experience less anxiety, increased support, and more appropriate and timely referrals. Our investigators are very appreciative of the advocacy services offered by the Prescott House. Knowing that the special needs of the child victims and their families are being taken care of gives them more time to focus on other aspects of their investigation. Prescott House enables our investigators to build a good, solid case so that we can do our very best to ensure child abusers go to jail for a very long time.
When a child tells someone or gives clues that abuse has occurred, law enforcement or DHR are notified, and they schedule a forensic interview for the child at Prescott House. The Prescott House Child Advocacy Center is a warm, child-friendly facility where a child meets one-on-one with a specially trained counselor. Because children are not familiar with discussing such subjects as private parts, abuse, and adult behaviors, we have to ask specific questions to help the child provide details of the abuse while avoiding anything that could be considered leading or suggestive. Law enforcement officials, a district attorney liaison, and DHR social workers watch the interview on closed-circuit TV.
Because we are able to watch the interview on closed-circuit television, the investigative team can discuss the interview and decide what steps need to be taken in the investigation as the interview is happening. It is not necessary for us to interview the child individually because the forensic interviewer has done that for us using non-leading and specific questions. If the offender is charged and the case goes to trial, the counselors may be called upon to testify about the interview with the victim. Because of the nationally recognized protocol they use to conduct their interviews, the process is above reproach and the integrity of the interview is protected. The forensic interview simplifies the investigative process for everyone involved and saves the child from recounting their abuse over and over again.
A DHR social worker's primary responsibility is to ensure the safety and well-being of a child victim. Sometimes, DHR is the first agency at family encounters following an allegation of abuse. Other times, DHR is informed after the initial police report is filed, and a social worker may meet the family for the first time when they come to the Prescott House for the interview. Families are often disrupted after an allegation of abuse, and involvement by DHR is often met with anxiety and fear of what's going to happen next. Prescott House provides a non-threatening environment in which to make contact with the family.
The Prescott House has been the sanity in all the insanity, a safe haven, a true godsend. Following her first appointment, Erin was set up for long-term counseling. She has a counselor she can confide in, cry with, and be encouraged by as she continues to travel down the path to healing. Some of the most difficult times have been when Erin would cry because she missed her dad. She loves her dad in spite of all the pain he has inflicted. The Prescott House has walked us through every painful step. What I was unable to see and hear, the Prescott House has given her a safe place to share.
A child's trauma is not always the child's alone. Families often do not know the abuse is occurring and are frequently shocked by the news. Because many perpetrators are in the home, the family will often undergo changes in their living situations. Sometimes children are removed from the home, and sometimes the perpetrators are asked to leave. We are trained to help families cope with the physical, emotional, and psychological changes that often occur when a child discloses abuse. We understand that healing takes time and depends heavily on understanding, support, and protection. We provide counseling for the children and resources for the families to get the support they need.
Soon after his arrest, Erin's dad made bond. We lived in fear that he would try to hurt us. We also feared that he would retaliate since we had exposed him. Erin had spent so much time with her dad and enjoyed much of what they did together. He would take her places, he would buy her things. He was her softball coach. She missed that part of him and would often cry. I was so frustrated that he was able to get out of jail and feared he might never be punished for what he had done, or worse yet, abuse other children. Thankfully, the police and the district attorney did their part for Erin. While we've still got a long way to go, Erin is a survivor and we're going to make it through this.
Because the services provided by Prescott House are often part of criminal investigations, fees cannot be charged to the families. The Prescott House conducts approximately 500 to 600 forensic interviews and approximately 500 counseling sessions every year. We provide court prep and court accompaniment when children have to testify in court. Prescott House conducts approximately 500 multidisciplinary team reviews to help coordinate the investigations between law enforcement and DHR. We provide a large quantity of services and work to ensure that the quality of the services follows best practice standards. Prescott House is a nonprofit organization and needs your help to ensure that these children will receive the quality of care they deserve.
Child sexual abuse is sometimes called the silent problem. Often, children do not tell anyone about the abuse. They may be too young to put into words what happened, or they were threatened or bribed to keep the secret. Some may be afraid no one will believe them. Others may blame themselves or feel too ashamed or embarrassed to tell. Often, children are worried about getting in trouble or getting a loved one in trouble. Silence enables the abuse to continue. Silence protects child abusers and hurts the children that are being abused. At Prescott House, we help child victims and their families break the silence.
Has the world gone wild? Does it seem a little colder? I've gone 1,000 miles and I feel a little older, so much wiser. I have burned and I have tried, made my way through the dark, lighting candles. Sometimes I